We're going to go through CCC Confer1, and there are a number of housekeeping items you want to go through. It would be a short and sweet session. First, we're going to go through required assignments, how do you get access to NetLab, how to access archived CCC Confer sessions, what are the directions to customize quiz. We're going to go through a short slide presentation and a review quiz. Before I get going, any questions and concerns you might have you want to share with me right away? All right, let's move on. Let me get my pen going here. All right, today we're going through CCC Confer session. Hopefully it's going to be less than 2 hours. There's not much to cover. By 11:59 p.m. tonight, you should have been done with LabSim 1.0 sections, LabSim 1.0 labs, LabSim 1.0 exam questions, and also LabSim 1.0 customized quiz. So the idea is making sure that you are aware of the requirements and you're submitting them on time. Otherwise, you're not going to get credit. As we move on, next week we're going to have another CCC Confer session. The reason I have back-to-back Confer sessions is because I want to make sure that you're all ready to get going with the course and you can navigate between different sites. Notice that we're having a NetLab site, a Blackboard course site, and so forth. And also you are familiar with the requirements. On March 3rd by 11:59 p.m., you should have finished all the assignments for LabSim 6. I apologize for not having all the NetLabs ready, but NetLab 1 is ready, and I'm going to briefly go over it with you so that will get you started. You have my word that NetLab 2, 3, and 4 will be ready by Monday morning. Again, you have to submit those by March 6th, 2014. We will have another CCC Confer session in, I believe, on Thursday the 20th, and then a midterm on March 17th. All right, let's move on. If you go to the course requirements section of your Blackboard course site and click on required NetLab assignments, you're going to see how to access NetLab and submit NetLab assignments. I just updated and uploaded this file there, so it gives you all the directions that you need. And a number of you took my CIS 195 class. This is a continuation of 195, so you're familiar how to do that. Also, I enabled NetLab assignments, and I'm going to briefly go over that later on. If you open that document, it will give you all the directions you need, and it will take you to where the NetLab 1 assignment is. For NetLab 1 assignment, you're going to download a PDF file, Ethical Hacking, You also have to open up a worksheet document, CIS 196 worksheet. This session is being recorded, so you can actually retrieve it later on. All you have to do is to go to the archive section, search for my name, find archives, and basically come up with a number of different archive sessions I have. One of the things I can do would be to have it as a link on the Blackboard course site, so you can always go back to it. How many of you tried the video, the 3-minute video that I uploaded? I don't know if you guys noticed the announcement, but there was a link there, and I was just wondering how it works. One of the things I'm hoping to do would be to archive all these videos and have them as a file, so that it's easier to run on your machine and you don't have to basically connect to the Blackboard Collaborate. That's what you're doing right now. It's called Blackboard Collaborate, that works with CCC Confer. How to take the customized quiz. There were a number of questions and concerns about customized quiz. The next customized quiz is on 2/13/2014. So I have made that available to you as a customized quiz. So you should be able to easily go there. Once you log on, it should show a new exam. Once you click on the link, you have to click Begin, and you start the test. And this is what you need to remember. When you're done, you click on Score Exam. It will show you your score. And this is the critical moment. You need to then click on Question and basically review the questions. That way you're going to see what you missed and what your errors are and what would be the correct items. Once you close that window, that doesn't come to you anymore. All right. Before I even start going through the lecture, let me share my desktop and kind of go over the sites so that you get some familiarity with what is going on. So let me see if I can share the desktop. Right, if I go to CIS 196, all right, within CIS 196, you have a number of announcements. I urge you to look into the announcements. I try to send you email too, but the latest updates are in the announcement section. Instructor information. Here is where you know more about my website and my email address and so forth. Course information, syllabus, course outline. If you have not registered for LabSim yet, this is where you go to register for LabSim. You need to pay $89 and you need to buy the package SY0-301 SSCP. And that would be Test Out Security Pro. And then you need to enroll in LabSim class. By enrolling in LabSim class, all I mean is joining my anti-hacking network security LabSim class. So there are 2 steps to it. This is very important because you cannot get the customized quiz unless you enrolled, and once you enrolled, you need to send me an email and I need to enable you. Everyone so far is enabled. If you have to register right away, you need to send me an email. If you go to the course requirement section, we have required assignment information. This is, again, emphasizing what you need to submit by what date. Okay. Required CCC Confer and on-campus sessions. These are the on-campus sessions that you need to be here. Notice the midterm coming up, and also session 2 coming up in 2 weeks of CCC Confer session. Required NetLab assignments. Here I have NetLab assignment availability. Notice that I'm gradually are going to upload those for you. There are different ways to capture information. I hereby giving you Gadwin print screen, but I believe Microsoft has snippet, and that might be something you want to look into. How to access the documents. This is the NetLab assignment that is now available. If I open that up, you're going to see NetLab 1 already there. NetLab 2 will be available by the 10th. With the NetLab 1, you actually can get the directions, and if you open up any of these links, these are the actual lab manual. So if I open that up, it will open up into a PDF file. So here I have Ethical Hacking Lab Series Lab 1. And I'm going through a number of items here. You're supposed to finish up this lab. In order to go through the steps of the lab, you need to log on to the NetLab account that I have given you. You should all have a NetLab account by now. So if I click on 196 NetLab 1 and open it up, here is the NetLab worksheet that I prepared for you for NetLab 1. All you have to do is to go through the steps And once you get to, for example, page 10, figure 12, you need to reproduce what I have created here for you. And in your case, I like you to execute a command like date for Linux. It's usually date. For Microsoft, it would be a /date/time, so that I get your timestamp also. So it would be different than mine. And then you paste it down here. These two should exactly match. Here there is another snapshot I require, so you need to reproduce that. And then this is the second part of the lab, discovering hosts with Windows command line tools. In date/t, time/t, because now you're using your Windows machine. Here you're using Wireshark, and again, I need your snapshot. And the third section of the lab, discovering hosts with Metasploit and Kane. And here you need to reproduce the Wireshark output, and also reproducing the failure audit. Okay. Let me just give you a demonstration of how to get to the NetLab. So you open up the link. For username, you click administrator. Oh, let me just log in as a student, actually. I've created a fictitious student, V Cypress. So let me see if I can log in as that student. You log in, usually you need to do a remote test. I've done that before, so it's in the buffer, so it's going to log me in right away. But you go to the scheduler, click on the scheduler. In your case, you should only have CIS 196, or if you're taking any of my other classes, or 258 or 262, you might have those also. And you click on the arrow. And then you click on the arrow by Lab 1. Okay? You have 6 pods available to you, and you can reserve any of these pods. I'm going to kind of demonstrate to you how that goes. So from now, I have 4. I can reserve up to 4 hours. Do not do multiple reservations. So if I go till like 11 p.m., that would be 3 hours and 8 minutes. If I go 11:30, that would be 3 hours and 38 minutes. You cannot go further than 4 hours. So I click on OK. I'm done. And notice that now I can enter the lab. So I click Enter, and it actually starts loading the machines. Notice that NetLab is all about these machines on a supercomputer that you connect to. Just give it a little bit of time, see if it comes up. It has to load a number of different computers. Just give it a little bit more time. All right. Here you see a Windows 2003 SQL, a Windows 2008 Server, a Linux Backtrack 5, and a Windows XP Pro. Notice that's our internal network. And then there is a firewall. There is a Linux machine that does sniffing. Sniffing, all that means is basically sniffing packets or being able to digest in a way traffic and be able to show it. So that's a packet sniffer. On the external side, we have another Linux machine and a Windows 7. And it's really easy to go through the lab. My suggestion is to download the PDF file and don't click on the Show Lab document, because then you have to go back and forth, and at times it's more difficult to do that when you download it here. You can open up any of these computers. For example, if I click on Backtrack 5, it opens up, I run the Java on it, and then you need to log in to Backtrack 5. I think the username is root. If I'm not mistaken, the password is Toor, T-O-O-R. So now the root login, and if I do *X, *X, it takes me to the GUI phase. And then all you have to do is follow the directions. It's really easy to follow that. And the thing is, it gives you a lot of experience with different machines. And it goes through steps, really easy steps to understand specific topics. Any questions you might have on the NetLab? Okay. Let me unshare and go over the lecture now. When you're done, you need to click on I'm done. That way you release your reservation so somebody else can take it. Right. Any questions, concerns so far before I start the lecture? Right, let's go. I'm going to take you through an introduction of network security. We're going to describe the challenges of securing information. We're going to define information security and explain why it is important. We're going to identify the types of attackers that are common today. We're going to list the basic steps of an attack and describe the 5 basic principles of defense. Security is becoming more and more important, personal security and also information security. There is no simple solution for it. Many different types of attacks can happen. And one of the reasons that it's getting more difficult is because we have advances in computing power, and in the past you have to be a guru to be able to hack systems. Now you can be just a beginner and search for software and tools that does harm to other computers. Kind of like password breaking. There are software out there that's pretty easy to do. Smartphones are new targets now. A lot of attacks should be familiar with you. For example, online banking attacks, where they get into your online banking and find your password and do things. Malwares, infected USB flash drive devices. In fact, some companies have regulations that you cannot bring your own flash drive in to the company and use it on the company machines. Here is a selected security breaches involving personal information in a 1-month period. For example, in Tulane University, a university-issued laptop was stolen from an employee's car. It was used to process 2,010 tax records for employees, students, and others. The information included names, social security numbers, salary information, and addresses. So there were 10,000 different identities that were basically lost. So what are some difficulties in defending against attackers? Devices are universally connected. Attackers have better equipment. Their speeds are faster. They are more sophisticated. There are tools already available that anybody can get through the internet. And there are ways to figure out the vulnerability of the systems. Patching. If you have delays in patching your software, then that hole is available for intruders to get in. And there are attacks that are done in a distributed manner so that it is actually focused on an entity based on different areas of attack, and also user confusion. Here are some difficulties in defending against attacks. For example, for university connected devices, attackers from anywhere in the world can send attacks. Increased speed of attacks, millions of computers can be involved within minutes. So there are a number of the reasons why it's getting more and more difficult. So what is information security? What it is, why it is important, and who are the attackers? Security are steps to protect personal property from harm. Harm may be intentional or non-intentional. So basically, we are sacrificing convenience for safety. Information is more and more digitized. That makes things much more valuable to organizations, because you can actually store it better, use it much more efficiently. There are 3 types of information protection. It is called CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality has to do with allowing only certain individuals access to information. Integrity has to do with making sure that the information is not altered. And availability has to do with access to authorized users. Authentication, all that it means, are you who you're supposed to be? Authorization, do you have permission to access? Accounting, can we keep track of your activities? So if you see that in the center we have confidentiality, integrity, and availability for hardware. For our physical security has to do with products, personal security has to do with people, and organizational security having to do with procedures. So people are those who implement and properly use security. Procedures or plans and policies that organizations have to ensure people are correctly using the products. And the products are basically the data, and making sure that those are intact and safe. Terminology. Asset is an item of value. Threat is actions or events that have potentials to cause harm. Threat agent is a person or element with power to carry out a threat. Here's a table of information technology assets. Information itself, it's data. It is collected, organized, and stored. And it is a critical asset. Application software, software that supports the business process of the organization. And it is also critical. System software, software that provides the foundation for application software. In other words, example is operating system. You need that to be able to run your processor and do things on your computer. It is not critical because it's replaceable. Physical items like the computer equipment, communication equipment, all of the things that you have, especially servers and routers and networking equipment. It's not critical because it is replaceable. Also services, what we have outsourced to other companies, kind of like voice and data communications. Not critical because it can be easily replaceable. Even if it's replaceable, it will interrupt operation. So the idea is to make sure that all of our assets are intact, especially our critical assets. Vulnerability has to do with flaw or weakness. We don't want a threat agent to be able to penetrate and hack our system. Risk is the likelihood that a threat agent will exploit your vulnerability. If you haven't patched your software, so there is a hole, there is a gateway, they can come in and hack your system. You cannot eliminate risk entirely because it has too much cost, but you can actually reduce it to an extent that is easier to manage. Here is an example. An example of like a thief trying to take the rims off a car. So the threat agent is the thief. The asset are the rims of the car. The threat would be loss of the rims. The risk would be rims being stolen. And the exploit, the loophole, is the hole in the fence where the thief can get in to our parking lot or parking space and take away the rims, steal the rims. What are the options we have to deal with risks? Accept it, realize the chance of loss. In other words, we don't want to do anything because probably we don't have the financial backing to do that, or it's not as important to us. Diminish. We want to take precautions or transfer risk to someone else. For example, purchasing insurance. What are the categories of attackers? We have hackers, script kiddies, spies, insiders, cyber criminals, and cyber terrorists. All of those are categories of attacks. A hacker is a person who uses computer skills to attack computers. The term is not common in security community. We have a white hat hacker and a black hat hacker. The white hat hacker is a good guy actually. Maybe we hired him. We want him to expose our security flaws so that we actually come up with a remedy for it. Black hat attackers or hackers are the ones that are not our friends. Their goal is malicious and destructive. Script kiddies. In other words, scripts that you can download and create damage on other computers. So many of them out there. In fact, 40% of attacks are performed by script kiddies. Of course, spies, person hired to break into a computer to steal information without drawing attention. Most probably this person has excellent computer skills. Insiders, employees, contractors, and business partners. 48% of breaches attributed to insiders. In other words, the most damage that an organization can attain would be to someone from inside, because that person has either knowledge or access to valuable assets. There are different examples of insiders. Stock trading insiders that know information. Disgruntled employee, he knows he's going to lose his job, so what he does, he comes up with insider type of hacking information, giving it to others. Cyber criminals. This is a network of attackers, identity thieves, spammers, financial fraudsters that work in an organized manner. They are willing to take more risk, they are better funded, and so forth. So we're talking about an organized type of hacking. What are the steps of an attack? Probing for information such as type of hardware or software that we're using. Penetrating any defenses. Modifying security settings. Redirecting the attack to something else. Here are the steps an attacker can use. Probe for information, so figuring out what the passwords are, what entities are out there, where is the router? For example, the router is a very important device. Where is it? Because from there I can get anywhere. What are the loopholes? Are there gateways that I can get in? Can I add a rogue equipment there so that I can actually draw attention and have more information collected? Modify security settings. Can I change the password so that I have the entire system to myself? Can I give myself proper permissions? Okay, let's see, Gilmore, can you guys want me to scroll up? Is that what the problem is? Or is it okay? Titan? Okay, so you're okay now? All right. What are our defenses against attacks? These are the defenses: layering, limiting, diversity, obscurity, simplicity. Let's go through each of them. Layering means having more than one single layer of defense. So we have different layers that you need to go through. You pass our firewall, we have a router there that is, you have to break into our router also. We have a demilitarized zone, a DMZ, and you can only get there because after that is our firewall and then our router. So that makes things much more difficult to penetrate, and that's basically the best type of resistance that you can have. Limiting. Reduce the threat by limiting access. For example, put 5 permissions, so specific users can only use specific files. Or come up with a protocol, a procedure that only specific documents can be removed by specific personnel. Diversity. Be more creative in your layering defense. In other words, if the attackers penetrate one layer, use a different technique to stop them at the layer 2, or different ways of keeping them outside your system. Obscurity. Do not make important data information of your equipment available to the individuals. For example, type of your computer, brands of your software, versions of your operating system. Because for each of them, there are different ways of hacking, and the less information they have, the more difficult it would be. You want to have a good security system, but you also want to have, you don't want to make it too complex so that it is not manageable. So it should be actually simple from the inside and maybe complex from the outside. To summarize, we have more and more security issues. We have, anybody can be a hacker these days. It's not like the old days. Information security protects information's integrity, confidentiality, and availability. Integrity means it is not changed or altered in transition. Confidentiality, only those who need access have access, and availability. It is available based on demand. Goals of information security is to prevent theft and make sure that you don't have as much identity theft, and avoid legal consequences, and be able to come up with a security system that is a procedure that is complex from the outside, but rather simple from inside. All right, Gilmero, which slide were you talking about? Let me go back. Are we on the summary or simplicity? Do you remember? Sorry, I didn't pay attention to the text as I was going back. Slide number 30. It's way back. This one? A few before 37. This one? Or the attackers, cyber terrorists and cyber criminals. Right before layers. Steps of an attack. Defense against attacks. Okay. So we have layering, limiting, diversity, obscurity, and simplicity. Okay? So these are the different categories that we have. All right. The quiz is really simple. I don't want you guys to be stressed at all. It is really simple. It's just designed to make sure that you, first of all, you're present and you were not asleep while I was talking, because it is all based on common sense and kind of digesting the general concepts. I would like you to go to the Blackboard course site and take the quiz. I'm sending you a text message. It would be in the course requirements section. Password is 691 is the password. Course requirement section and password is 691. You have only 10 minutes. So if you're thinking you're not doing it right, you don't know the answer, it is really easy. And I'm going to monitor you. Once you're done, then we're going to wrap up.